Hey guys, I am today going to tell you I guess I should look at the camera. Again, I do this every single video, sorry. How I told my parents that I was pregnant at 19. So if you are interested in watching a video and all the details about how I told my parents and how I found out, and then a year later finding out again that I was pregnant and having to tell them again, stay tuned. So Daniel and I, who was my boyfriend at the time of 5 years, we went to the casino and had dinner at the buffet. And I told him, because we had been arguing a little bit, and I think I just wanted to say it just to be like, hey, don't argue with me, because you're gonna find out why. And I finally just blurted it out. I was like, I'm pregnant. I had taken a test because I had horrible cramps. My breasts were really tender. They were really hurting bad. What other symptoms? Oh, I will link the app below. But I used this pregnancy tracker, and the only 2 times that I ever followed through with using it, I ended up pregnant the next month. Imagine that, right? So it was more like you should have been paying attention kind of thing. But I got 2 beautiful kids out of it who are screaming in the background. I'm sure you can hear that. I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to reprimand my 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old. Can't even believe it's been almost 3 years. So anyways, back to my story. So I took the test. I don't remember. I remember going to the Dollar Tree out of all places because somebody had mentioned, I think a doctor had mentioned to me one time that you could go to the Dollar Tree and it's the exact same tests that they use at the doctor's office, and they're still, accurate. So I ended up going there, buying like 4 or 5 tests, taking them, and then waiting for Daniel to tell him. But I was like so nervous, and then we were arguing, and we got to the buffet, and I just wanted to have a nice time. So I just blurted out, I'm pregnant. And he was like, there's no way. I was like, yeah, there is. There's plenty of ways that I'm pregnant. I'm sure you know. And so yeah. So then we were like, okay, how are we going to tell your parents? How are we going to tell my parents? His parents are way more open. They're more, I don't know the word, accepting, I guess, of things like that. Anyways, I was so scared to tell my parents. So anyways, I got some bright idea from a friend who, when she was pregnant, just right out of high school, she had called and told me, her story and what she did. She had wrote a letter to her parents, stuck it on the desk or something, and then left for days. And then they tried to call. And then she said, okay, I'm not coming back until you guys mellow out. So she ended up going back, whatever. Anyways, so I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to text my parents and tell them over a text message while I'm at work because I am so scared. My parents had always told me before, don't get pregnant. You're still so young. You need to go to school. And my mom and my dad had me when same age, 19 going on 20. So they were trying to teach me a lesson. It's really hard, don't do that. But of course, what 19-year-old is going to listen to their parents? So anyways, I texted my parents. I cannot remember what I said. I said something along the lines of, I hope you're happy for us. We're really happy. We're keeping it. I don't know how far along I am, but I am pregnant. And I hope you guys will accept it. And, just all that, trying to get them to be accepting. And my dad is very, strict. He's the sweetest guy, but he's just you need to make your life good. So, my mom was more accepting of it. At first, she had called me, and my mom was bawling. I remember telling her, we have something to tell you, but I'm too scared to tell you. And she knew, and she said, you need to come in here right now, she was at home. And I was still living at home, but I wasn't home at the time. And you need to tell me what's going on. And I was like, no, I'm not telling you. So anyways, back to the text message. They texted me back and said, you get home right after work, we're gonna talk to you. And I was like, I'm not coming home unless you guys are, like, chill. Like, you guys aren't gonna flip out. I was like, I'm not gonna talk to you guys if you guys are gonna flip out. So anyways, that text message was so hard for me to send, you guys. Like, I've never felt more anxiety. I've never felt more stress in my life. I have never felt so sick in my life. I was, like, horrified. Like, my body was shaking. My body was hot. I couldn't focus on work. I wanted to leave so bad. So anyways, I get home, and my parents are sitting in the living room. I just go straight to my room because I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. So I get to my room, and then they say, Katie, come out here. I was like, oh, shit. So I walked out there, and I sat on the couch, and I remember being so stressed out that I completely tuned them out. Like, I don't remember any of the conversation other than, what are you going to do with this? Like, what are you going to do? And I was like, we're keeping it. End of question. Like, pretty much I'm not having this conversation with you. And so, oh my gosh. So crazy. The story, like, every time I think about it, it boggles my mind. So, after that day, it just, like, they kind of shut up about it, and they were disappointed. My dad was super upset, like, what are you doing? You realize you're about to ruin your life. Just going on and on and on. I'm looking at my necklace, sorry. And then the next day, this is the next day. So, Daniel told me, stick to your ground. Like, when you talk to your parents, stick to your ground. Don't let them, talk you out of keeping the baby. Like, we've already decided this. We're, everything will be fine. So, hi, Creed. What are you doing with this?
I was eating hot things.
Oh. So the next day, I go to work, I'm at work, and I remember, I told my boss, I said, I'm leaving. I have to leave. I get off, I work from 8 to 12, and I was so sick, something was really wrong, and I remember just, like, not being able to, I could barely talk, I could barely hold my phone, I could barely hold my keys, I could barely hold my purse to get out the door, but I remember walking into her office saying, I need to go, and I'm the only person there running the registers, waiting for customers, like, taking phone orders, like, everything. So then, so I got in my car, I could barely walk to my car, and then when I got in the car, something was, like, seriously so wrong. I could not dial, I had my door open. I remember sitting down and just being like, I can't move. In my head, I'm thinking, like, I have no energy. Like, something's really wrong. I have no energy to call Daniel to tell him, I need help. I need you to drive me. Take me to the emergency room. Like, something was really, really badly wrong. And, like, I think I, like, slowly, tried calling my work to tell my boss, like, you need to get me an ambulance or something. And I couldn't. So then I ended up texting Daniel saying, I'm going home, something's wrong. I ended up going home. Why? Whatever, I don't know. So I went home, nobody was there, and I went to go pee, and I thought, okay, maybe I need to go to the bathroom. So I tried to go to the bathroom. Nothing, I couldn't. Like, and I just remember looking down, and there was just, like, blood gushing everywhere. And I was like, oh my god, like, this is not good. I'm miscarrying, like, super bad. So I ended up calling Daniel. I said, I have to drive myself to the ER. Nobody would answer their phones. Like, people that I needed to drive me, people that, my neighbors, anybody that I could think of. I was like, who can I call to take me to the emergency room? I cannot drive. Anyways, I ended up getting in the car and driving to the emergency room, driving myself there. And then Daniel and his dad met me there, and then my dad met me there, who was still super, super pissed off at me. Oh yeah, I have to tell you about how we told Daniel's parents. And so, I just, like, they took me into the ER, and what ended up happening, they took an ultrasound and everything, they took my blood, they told me that I was only 4 or 5 weeks, they weren't sure, pregnant, and I had a 50-50 chance of either carrying the baby all the way or, like, finishing the miscarriage that was going on. But it ended up being how stressful. It was all the stress that I was going, under. So that was really scary. It was really, really scary to go through. Because I was like, this baby's definitely not, I'm definitely not keeping this baby because it's coming out. But it turns out I went back for blood every couple days, and they would tell me my blood count, and they were saying it's going up, this is great. But at the hospital, I remember my dad being like, okay, I'm on my way, like, don't worry about it, everything's gonna be okay. He was really, really supportive. That's the moment that my dad became accepting. This is really happening, I need to be supportive. I'm not happy about it, but I'm going to try to be. And then Daniel he was talk to my dad, like, I know you're not happy, but, like, this is happening, and we need to be supportive of Katie and what's going on and everything else. And so we ended up leaving. Everything was good. I carried full term. I had Creed on April 4th, 2014, 4/14/14, which is a super easy birthday to remember. And then Creed's first birthday party. That day I had 1 beer. I was super sick from the beer. Like, I didn't feel good. We had I think it was over like 300 people at the house for his first birthday party. I was like a psycho mom who, wanted him to have the best of the best. And the day after, when we brought all of the presents home, we ended up moving out. That's in another video. We moved out, and we brought all of his presents home, and I remember being like, something's up. And this is how I felt when I was pregnant with Creed. So I took a test. I went to the store, took a test, and then I called Daniel. I said, you need to hurry up and get home. Like, hurry up as fast as you can. Get here. Like, if you're not on your way, you better be on your way right now. So he got home, and I was like, are you ready for something? And he's like, what? I handed him the test, and he was like, this is so exciting. Like, he was so happy. I was like, oh my God, I thought you were going to be scared. But he was so happy. So I told my parents about that, which I was scared, like, oh my God. So my mom actually knew. I had told her, like, secretly leaving hints, like, Mom, I don't feel good. I have a really bad headache. I've been getting migraines. I'm going to go to the doctor. I feel nauseous. So that she would kind of build up okay, she's pregnant. Like, when is she going to tell me? And that's exactly what happened. I went to the doctor, and my mom called me, and she's like, what happened at the doctor? I was like, well, I'm pregnant. And she's like, I know. I knew you were pregnant from the moment that you were pregnant. And so, moms know everything. So then she was happy. She was like, well, that's exciting. He's going to have a brother or sister. And then I was like, well, shit, how am I going to tell my dad? And my mom's like, he'll be okay, accepting, whatever. So Father's Day, I put on a shirt on Creed. It was actually a onesie that says, I love my brother, because we ended up finding out that he was a boy. And so he was wearing the shirt, and then he went out, and I stayed in my parents' room because I was nervous, but I sent Creed out to go see my dad. And my dad was like, I guess he asked my mom, like, is that what I think it is? My mom's like, yeah. And he's like, oh. And that was it. That was totally it. And then I was totally shocked because I was like almost 5 months pregnant. And I waited because I didn't want to have that stress. I did not want to have that stress and miscarry or anything to go wrong. So then it was like my aunt and uncle's going away party because they were moving to Hawaii. My parents, and it was Father's Day, so I was like, I don't want to take away from anybody's stuff. I took the onesie off of Creed. I didn't want anybody to be like, oh, this is about her. So I was showing pretty much, and my parents were just like, oh yeah, she's having another baby, she's pregnant again, like, and I was totally showing, so everybody knew. But it was cool. That's my story. So if you guys want to know anything else, or if you want me to make any other videos, how we told Daniel's parents. We pretty much just straight up said, Katie's pregnant. And they were both like, oh, cool, whatever. They're super, super accepting. I don't know how, but they're pretty cool. So anyways, that's it. If you guys want to know any other questions, or anything else, you can leave me a comment. And I think Daniel and I might be doing like a fiance tag or anything. Something along those lines, I don't know. And then, I was thinking about doing like a wedding planning video. If you guys want to see that, let me know. Alright, have a good night, guys!